finding roots by factorizing. Let's have a look at what we mean by finding roots by factorizing. Now, we factorize when we have a quadratic equation. And when we have a quadratic equation, we can find out the roots of that quadratic equation. So let's have a look at what do we mean by the roots. So let's start off with something like x squared plus x minus 6. Okay, that is our equation. We're going to make it equal to 0. Okay, that is our equation. We're going to factorize and get x, the x is 1, and we don't normally write that down, do we? So which two numbers multiply to give minus 6 and add to give 1? Sometimes you have to play around with the numbers, sometimes you can get them straight away. So what I like to do is to write the number 6 down at the side. And well, what number times to make 6? 3 and 2. Can I make the number from 3? Can I make the number 1 from 3 and 2? I can. I can do 3 take away 2. And then when I times those together, do I get minus 6? I do, because a positive times a negative gives a negative. So plus 3 and minus 2 equals 0. Okay, so that is that. So I have factorized my quadratic equation. So now I want to work out the root. Well, this is how you work out the root. Well, you say, can you see how x plus 3 and x minus 2 equals 0? Well, you make each bracket equal to 0 now. You don't have to write in the bracket anymore, so let's get rid of that. X plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. Then you solve both of your little equations that you've got. So if x plus 3 equals 0, what does x equal? X is minus 3, isn't it? And x is 2 for this one. And that is your root. You might be wondering, well, we've solved the equation, but what do you mean by the word root? So what we're going to do is we're going to plot this graph first, and then you can probably see what I mean by the root. So let's plot this quadratic equation first. Yeah, so I'm going to get myself a ruler, and I'm going to draw myself a y-axis, and then I'm going to draw myself the x-axis like this. Okay, I've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and minus 5. Then going up, I'm going to have I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Below, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, and minus 6. Don't forget to write down y-axis and x-axis there. I'm just going to rub that off because I don't really want that bit. Okay, x-axis. So let's draw ourselves a little grid, a table to help us. So I'm going to have x and y. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to say my x is minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and let's have a look. So obviously I've got to substitute my x into my equation to work out the y. So my equation was x squared plus x minus 6, and it's y equals. So if my x is minus 4, I've got to do minus 4 squared, which is obviously 16. I've got to add minus 4 and then take away 6, and I end up with 6. Next one, minus 3 squared is 9. 9, add minus 3, then take away 6 is 0. Minus 2 now. So I've got to do minus 2 squared, which is 4, take away 2, take away 6 is minus 4. Let's do minus 1. That's just 1, take 6 is minus 6. Okay. Let's do 0 now. 0 squared is 0. That's going to be minus 6, 2. Okay. Then I'm going to do 1 now. So 1 squared is 1, add 1, take 6 is -4. And you can see it's symmetrical, isn't it? Let's do 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 add 2, take 6 is 0. Okay, and then we can kind of really figure out what the next one's going to be. The next one's going to be 6. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, so let's plot our graph then. Okay, so let's plot our graph. So I'm going to plot the coordinates. Sometimes you can write the coordinates out, but remember it's the x1 first and the y1. So -4, 6 first, then -3, 0, and so on. So -4, 6 is all the way there. -3, 0. -2, -4. 1 -6, that's -6 there. 0 -6. I've got 1 -4. I have got 2, 0, and I've got 3, 6. Okay, I need to draw this graph out now. So remember, a quadratic graph is a nice, smooth, U-shaped graph. There should be no joining the dots. So let's see how well I can do with this on my laptop. And there we are. Okay, so I'm just going to rub this little bit out because it's not really that smooth. Oops. It was -4, 6. So let's put that there. And let me kind of join that up. There you are. That's much better. Okay, a nice, smooth U-shaped graph. Okay, so you should be able to spot something on our graph in regards to the answer that we found previously. And you can see that the answer we found previously, which is x equals -3 and x equals 2, is here. If I highlight it, just change the highlighter color pen so you can see clearly. Let's do yellow. Okay, -3 and 2 on the x-axis, and we said x is -3 and x is 2, and that is the root. The root is where your graph crosses the x-axis. That's what it means by the root. So we worked it out by factorizing, which is the most easiest way, but I've plotted the graph here for you so you can see that it works, okay, and that is the answer. But generally, when it asks you to work out the root of something, you can just do it by factorizing. So let's have a look at another example. What I will do is we will draw a graph for this one, and then we can move on to doing it without the graphs. But I think it's really nice for you to have a look at the graph and see that, you know, it actually works. So let's do another one. Let's do x squared -6x plus 9 equals 0. Okay, so we know we need to factorize. Two numbers at times to make 9 and add to make -6. Obviously, I need two brackets. I've got x and x, haven't I? Right, so at times to make 9, I'm going to have 3 and 3. Can I make -6 from 3 and 3? I can, can't I? I can do -3, take away 3. And when I times those together, I get +9 because two negatives times together to make a positive. So x is -3, x is -3 equals 0. Now we're going to say x -3 equals 0 or x -3 equals 0. Solve them. X has to be 3 because 3 take 3 is 0. Now, you'll be wondering, do you need to write both of these down? You don't, do you? Because it's the same thing. So it's just x equals 3, and that's your root. So that means your graph should cross the x-axis at number 3. Previously here, we had two answers. So your graph crossed at 2 places. Now you've only got 1. Let's have a look by drawing, so just so you can see that it actually works. So I'm just going to draw myself the x-axis first. Then my y-axis. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just going to have -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for this one. I'm just going to do -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, and -8 for this one. Not going to forget to label my axes, X and Y. Okay, so let's have a look then. draw myself a little table, shall I? Here, I'm going to have X and I'm going to have Y. Okay, I'm going to do, I can do start at -1, should I? Just do it like that way. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's just see what happens. So I've got to substitute my x's in. So y equals x squared minus 6x plus 9. Got to substitute x into there to work out my coordinates. So -1 squared is 1. Take away 6 times -1. Add 9 is 16. Okay, too big. Right, 0 squared, 0 take 0, add 9 is 9. Right, 1 take 6, add 9 is 4. 2 squared is 4. 4 take away 6 times 2, add 9 gives me 1. Then I've got 3 squared is a 9. Take away 6 times 3, add 9 is 0. I've got 4 squared, which is 16. Take away 6 times 4, add 9 is 1. 5 squared is 25. Take away 6 times 5, add 9 is 4. And you can see symmetrical, so the next one is going to be 9. Okay, let's put our coordinates on our kind of graph then, shall we? I've got -116, but that's off the grid. So I'm not going to plot that one. 0, 9 is here. 1, 4 is there. 2, 1 is here. 3 zeros there. 4, 1. 5, 4. If I do this one, 6, 9 is there. This makes a nice, smooth U-shaped graph. So let's quickly do that, shall we? Okay, there you are. And you can see that your graph crosses the x-axis there at the number 3. Okay, and that there is your root of your equation, and we've figured that out by factorizing. Okay, so let's have a look then. Let's do some without the factorizing. Sorry, without drawing the graph. I drew the graph just now just so you can see that, you know, it actually works and what it actually means by working out the root. It means where is your graph going to cross the x-axis when you plot it. So you might have something like this. Let's zoom in. X squared, oops, let's change the color pen. X squared plus 7x plus 10. Okay, let's get rid of that because it doesn't look like an x, does it? Plus 10. Okay, so first things first, you need to factorize. Okay, you need to factorize your equation. So you want 2 numbers at times to make the last one and add to make the middle one. 2 brackets, x and x. Okay, 2 numbers at times to make 10 are 5 and 2. Can I make 7 from 5 and 2? I can. So x plus 5 and x plus 2. Okay, equals 0. Make each bracket equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0. Or x plus 2 equals 0. Then all you do is solve. So this one here is x equals -5 or x equals -2. And that is your answer. You have found the roots of your equation. So if you were to plot this graph on an axis, it would cross the x-axis at -5 and at -2. And that's what this means. Okay. Let's have a look at another one then, shall we? Let's have a look at x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0. So again, times and add. We need 2 numbers, x and x here. 2 numbers at times to make -18 and add to make -3. Okay, so the numbers at times to make 18 are 6 and 3. Can I make the number 3 from 6 and 3? I can't. I can do +6, take away 3. 6 take 3 is +3, and 6 times -3 is -18 because a positive times a negative is a negative. So what you do is make each bracket equal to 0. So x plus 6 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. Solve x equals minus 6, or x equals 3. And there you are, we have solved to work out the root of our equation. And again, that means that the graph crosses the x-axis at minus 6, and it crosses the x-axis at 3 as well. It crosses it at 2 points. We might have something else. So let's have a look. Okay, again, you factorize x and x. 2 numbers times to make 20 and add to make 12. Well, 4 and 5 make 20, but I can't add them to make 12. 10 and 2 times to make 20, and I can't add them to make 12. So plus 10 plus 2 equals 0. Make each bracket equal to 0 then. So x plus 10 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. X equals minus 10, or x equals minus 2. And that's where they cross the x-axis. They cross the x-axis at minus 10 and at minus 2. You might have something like this as well, where that is the difference of 2 squares. So you have x, and you need 2 numbers at times to make minus 25. And look, there's no number in the middle, is there? Because here you've got 12x, you've got 3x there. So it's 2 numbers at times together to make minus 25 and add to make 0. And it's minus 5 and 5. It's called difference of 2 squares because the square root of 25 is 5. So x minus 5 and x plus 5 equals 0. Make each bracket equal to 0. X minus 5 equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. Again, you need to solve then. Okay. And if we solve, I've got x equals 5, or x equals minus 5. Okay. Before we finish, you might have something like this. X squared plus 2x plus 5 equals 0. If we were to factorize this, we can't factorize this because the only numbers at times to make 5 are 5 and 1. And we can't make the number 2 from 5 and 1. So your next situation would be, if you can't factorize, you would need to use a quadratic equation, or quadratic formula, should I say, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So it is, that's your a, that's your b, that's your c. So minus 2 plus or minus 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 all over 2 times 1. That's minus 2 plus or minus, well, it's 4 take away, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 take away 20 over 2. And then you've got minus 2 plus or minus the square root of, well, 4 take away 20 is minus 16 over 2. Right, if you were to tap that into your calculator, you would find that you can't work this out because you can't square root a negative number. Therefore, when you have a situation like this and you can't factorize and you can't use a quadratic formula to work out the values of x, it means that your equation has no roots. It means it doesn't cross the x-axis anywhere. So if I was to roughly kind of sketch this out without going through the hassle of, drawing the axes and everything, it just means that your graph would look like this. It would be kind of floating in your axes. It wouldn't cross your x-axis anywhere. Okay, so that equation has no roots. This was your lesson on finding roots by factorizing, and we looked at factorizing, and we also looked at plotting graphs on the axes so you can see what the root actually means. Thank you for watching.